take a quick bio break, grab some food before we start with our class. Just in case you're hungry, you can eat. You're allowed to eat, okay? As long as you don't talk when you are chewing something on your mouth, it's fine. You can eat. Just give me like quick 3 minutes. I just need to open my file, all right? All right, good morning, everyone.
Good morning po,
Good
ma'am.
morning, ma'am.
Okay, it's 9:04. The recording is now started or has now started. If you could just please type in your full name on our chat box before we begin with today's lesson po. Or today's discussion, sorry, rather. You could just please type in your full name on the chat box for your attendance. Thank you. All right, done? Done. All right, thank you so much for that. Okay, so for today is already September 7th, Tuesday. This is the third week. I hope you can hear me properly. Can you hear me properly? Is there background noise?
Yes po, ma'am.
Yes po.
Naririnig na
Okay naman
maayos.
po, ma'am.
Is there background noise? Because the fan is facing me right now, so I'm afraid that the fan might, you can hear the fan. I don't know. Can you hear it? Hindi
Hindi
No
naman.
po.
naman
No.
po.
Hindi naman po.
Okay, so hindi naman siya bothersome. All right. So I hope everything is fine. Everything is okay. I hope you are okay. Are you healthy and strong?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes
Okay, very
po.
good. That's actually great to hear. Okay, so please do stay strong, stay healthy, eat the right food, keep get the correct exercise or get some exercise if you can. Actually, I don't recommend going outside to get exercise since there are lots of variants going on right now, and the cases are really really increasing by the hour. So if you have the opportunity to get vaccinated, do get vaccinated. It's very helpful. All right. So it's been proven effective. Okay. Anyway, what was I saying? It's Tuesday, September 7th. It's already the third week of the semester and the new school year. So for DepEd, they're just gonna be starting their school next week, but you are already gonna be on your fourth week next week. So di ba nakaisang buwan na kagad kayo, ang saya. Alright, but anyway, alright, so that's not the point of my discussion anyway. I just hope that you are all okay and you are doing fine on your third week of the semester. I hope the week will be good for you as well. Okay, so let me just discuss a few things. I forgot to discuss this last time. In HSU, we are going to be following, like, not really strictly following, but rather it was a recommended setup for everyone. All right, so just so we can have this smoother flow of class during online sessions. So every synchronous session, we will be following these steps, not exclusively, but rather we'll try to follow them as much as possible. Okay, so for our class preliminaries, every time the recording has started, after the recording has started, so I will always ask your permission to start recording. After the recording has started, please do type your full name on the chat box for your attendance. So for those who just came in right now and missed out on my instructions, do not forget to type in your full name on the chat box so your attendance for the synchronous session will be recorded as well. Okay? Aside from that, for example, you were not able to attend the synchronous session, but you will still be able to do the activities on TBL Hub. So aside from that, of course, let me just remind you again, every Tuesday and every Friday, you have to go to TBL Hub from 6 a.m. to 12 noon, anytime in between those hours, and mark yourself present. Okay? So, wait lang. Let's post this. Okay. So, all right. What was I saying? So you have to go to TBL Hub to mark yourself present. Okay. Aside from that, so after we do our attendance, I just have. It's supposed to be we are supposed to be starting the class with a prayer, but I do believe in the power of prayers. I just don't want to impose my own beliefs, my own religion to my students. So I respect everyone's beliefs. I respect everyone's religion. What we're gonna do is I'm gonna present some words of affirmation rather, because I do believe in the power of prayers. They are very powerful. They are helpful. However, when we say prayers, kasi our how do I say this? Our notion of a prayer is that we wish for something, we hope for something to happen. Agree? Yes or no?
Yes po.
Do you agree with me? Di ba
Yes po.
usually when you
Yes
call on
po.
to someone, for example, any higher being that you believe in, when you call on, for example, God, can you please let me have peace of mind? You are wishing for something. You are aspiring for something to happen, correct? Okay. However, with words of affirmation, you are already claiming that thing. Okay, that thing is already yours. So you're not anymore hoping for it to happen. You know that it's already gonna happen. So recently, for the past few months, I've been practicing this habit. I just saw it on a vlogger actually. I just saw it on YouTube. I watched it from a lifestyle vlogger, and she kept on reiterating, emphasizing on the importance of words of affirmation. So words of affirmation are simply words that whenever we hear them, whenever we encounter them, we feel good. Okay, about ourselves, about our conditions, about everything in life. Okay, so this vlogger believes in the power of attraction. So he no she mentioned actually she mentioned that if something is meant for you and you believe that it is meant for you, the universe will conspire to make it happen. So whatever's gonna happen, whatever it is that you want, if you are already claiming it, take note that remember that the universe will conspire to make it yours. Okay, so that's what I've been holding on for the past couple of months. So take for example, if I really want to feel good about myself, what I did was all the words of affirmation that I want to remember, because I have very low self-esteem. So I'm not really that confident about myself before. Okay, so I have really low self-esteem. I don't consider myself pretty. I don't consider myself smart. I don't think that I'm exceptional, stuff like that. So I'm not very confident about myself in general. And the way that I improved on it, the way that I improved on myself was, what I did was I listed down all the words of affirmation that I want to hear from other people. Kahit hindi mo na sa akin, I want to hear from other people. These are the words that would make me feel good. And then I created a wallpaper on Canva for my mobile phone. So I created a wallpaper with all those words of affirmation, because bakit wallpaper? Why did you even created the wallpaper? What is it for? So I put it on my mobile phone, my phone's wallpaper. And remember that the phone is what we usually, the first thing that we touch in the morning and the last thing that we touch at night. Di ba? Would you agree? Yes or no?
Yes po.
Yes po.
Yeah, 'di ba
Yes po.
kayo din, gano'n din kayo eh. The first thing, the very first thing that you grab after opening your eyes, the very first thing that you grab is your phone. Okay, it's either to turn off that alarm or to check your messages or whatever. Okay, and then the very last thing that you touch before going to bed is also your phone. Okay, so that's it, basically. So every time that I look at my phone right now, I'm reminded of all the things that I want to be. And I repeat that. I read it, even if it was not out loud. I try to repeat it to myself. Like what you can find on my mobile phone. It's just on the bed right now, so I cannot grab it for you. But if you open my phone, once you unlock it, you can see, actually, even if you don't unlock it, the lock wallpaper is still the same. So if you check my phone, if it lights up, you will see there words of affirmation such as I am kind, I am beautiful, I am worthy, I am loved, I am blessed, and stuff like that. So every time that I look at my phone, even if I don't say it out loud, even if I don't read it out loud, in my head, I can read it. So it's repetitive over and over and over again. It's there. And I start to believe in it. Like after a few weeks of doing that, of it being on my phone, I start to believe in it na, yes, even if other people don't think that I am this, but the fact that I believe in it myself, then it is who I am. So that's the power of words, which we will also be discussing in oral communication. So that's the power of words, and that's the power of words of affirmation. Okay, so instead of a prayer, let's start with words of affirmation. Even if you don't repeat it with me, I just want you to have this, sentence, a phrase that you can live by, at least for the day or for the entire week. So for today, for this week's synchronous session, we have life doesn't have to be perfect to be beautiful. If you could repeat it, even on your own, life doesn't have to be perfect to be beautiful. All right. So life doesn't have to be perfect to be beautiful. It's because, everything that's going on around us right now, it's unexpected. And it's saddening, to be honest. It's not something that we would want, even to our worst enemies, I believe. Okay. So being stuck at home, it's not a good thing. Of course, even if you're an introvert like me, you still enjoy your time spent outside from time to time, meeting a few friends, going out. You know what I miss the most? I miss going to the cinema the most, as in watching movies in the cinema. Who else is with me on that one? Are there people here who love movies as much as I do? Because I really, really love going to the movies. I swear, like almost every week I go to the cinemas. And I really look forward to, going early just so I could watch the trailers, staying especially if it's a Marvel movie. I'm not a fan of Marvel, but I love Marvel movies. So if it's a Marvel movie, Avengers movie, then I have to stay behind because I know that after the credits there will be a post credit scene. So stuff like that I miss the most. I'm not even the one to enjoy popcorn. I just really like sitting in a cinema, watching the movie with other people, and just enjoying the movie, especially if you're with a friend or you're with someone else. You get to talk about it after. So it's one thing that I really, really miss the most. And you know um at the start of the pandemic, that made me really, really sad because I was experiencing going through a lot during that time as well. And it was very difficult for me to handle the pandemic, being alone, being at my own, being stuck at home. And that's it. And what I did was I found a way to deal with it. Instead of going to the movies, you know what I did? I downloaded movies. And then I started watching on my iPad. I think I started watching on my laptop, stuff like that. So if you are going to look at my hard drive right now, my external hard drive, it's full of movies, like around 800 movies right now, because I watch a lot of movies during the lockdown, even until now. So we find small things to be happy about. So because of that, we consider that life doesn't have to be really perfect for it to be beautiful. We can still enjoy the little things, the solitary time, the quiet time that you get to spend. I also appreciate that right now. Having to learn how to cook, stuff like that. So there are many, many things that you can still consider to be beautiful. All right. So I hope this little discussion of ours will in some way make you think about certain things. Okay, so there. All right. So that's it for our class preliminaries. Now let's go to our lesson recap. Okay, let's do it quickly because I have a game prepared and I don't wanna spend too much time reviewing what you already know. Or I mean, talking about what you already know. Let's just review. Okay. So let's start with our first lesson. Can someone please tell me what the first lesson was all about? I hope that you all watch the video lectures. Just so, okay, I have here Alexa. Alexa, can you tell me something about our first lesson?
Ma'am, our lesson one is about describing communication and the elements of communication.
All right. So we talked about, on the first lesson, I talked about the nature of communication, the elements of communication, as well as the process of communication. All right. So general process lang yun, general process of communication. So let's start first with the nature of communication. When we say nature of communication, we simply refer to the characteristics. All right. The characteristics that we use to describe communication itself. How are we going to describe communication? What are its characteristics? What are its features? All right, so that's the nature of communication. Can someone give me one characteristic of communication? Cindy, go ahead. Yes, Cindy, go ahead. Cindy Paraiso.
Communication is a dynamic process po.
It's a dynamic process, meaning it's not static, it's not stagnant, it changes, it moves, it flows. All right, it adapts to different settings, it adapts to different contexts. you will see this, you will notice this, the way that you communicate with your peers, for example, is very different from the way that you communicate with your teachers. The way that you talk when you are sad is different with the way you talk when you are happy. Right? Agree, yes or no?
Yes.
Yes po.
Yes,
Yes.
po.
Okay. So, meaning, communication doesn't stay the same. It's not the same for everyone. Even each and every one of you, you communicate differently. So, it's not the same for everyone. It's not the same for every situation. All right. That's why communication is dynamic. All right. Next one. Can you give me another one, Samantha?
It involves communicators po.
And who are these communicators?
The speaker and the receiver or listener
All
po.
right, very good. So I would not elaborate on that anymore. Simply put, communicators are the speakers and the listener, or the speaker and the listener. Can you give me another one, Bea?
Communication is irreversible.
All right. So irreversible. When we say irreversible, what makes communication irreversible is whenever we impart something, whenever we relay something, whenever we say something, okay, whenever we deliver a message, you cannot take that back. Hindi yan parang JP Express that you can just return it. If it's faulty, you can just return the product. No. With communication, once you said it out loud, once another person have heard it, once another person have seen it, even if you are just talking to yourself, if you have already told yourself na I am not worthy, I am not beautiful, then yourself will believe that you are not. Okay, so you cannot take those back anymore. And that's the funny thing about communication. That is why you have to be very careful with what you communicate and how you communicate those things. Okay, that's what makes communication very, how do I say this? Very essential in a way, or a very, you have to be careful while you are engaging in the communication process, because you will never know, okay, how it's gonna affect someone, because you cannot take it back. Even if, for example, you know that you have offended someone, but the fact that you have already said it, there's no taking it back. Maibabalik mo pa ba yung kasiyahan na nararamdaman niya before feeling sad about what you just said? No, not anymore. All right? So there are things that you really cannot take back, and communication, what you communicate is one of them. Okay? Can you give me another one, Angela? Go ahead.
Communication is proactive.
Is proactive. Now, when we say proactive, actually, there are many different meanings to proactive, and we can describe communication as proactive in such a way that the communicators themselves are already proactive, and even the process itself is proactive. Why? Because we are already anticipating, as communicators, we are already anticipating possibilities. So because we anticipate possibilities, we are aware of what might happen, what's gonna happen. Okay, because we are aware of those things, we can adapt easily. So take for example, you want to confess to your crush. You have decided already, I want to confess my love for him. Okay, I want to confess that I like him. So you took the opportunity to talk to your crush. Hi, kamusta ka na? Ganyan, ganyan. So you are doing small talk first. Diba, hindi ka naman right away, uy, gusto kita. Okay, di ba? Siyempre, meron pa tayong paano muna, leading up to that conversation, okay? Parang, ano ba yun? Hinahaplos-haplos mo muna siya before you drop the bomb, kumbaga. Alright, so, like that, for example, so you talk, you start the conversation, you initiate the conversation, you do small talk first, and then suddenly your crush told you, you were already expecting, or you already decided on yourself that you're gonna confess. However, while you were discussing something, your crush already told you, alam mo, may nakilala ako, sobrang ganda niya, blah, 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 blah. So ikaw, shucks, am I still gonna confess to this guy? While you are still in the communication process, so you are already thinking. Your mind is already at work. All right? Meaning, while you are engaged in the communication process, you are actively doing work. Your mind is actively engaged in several processes. Okay? And the communication process changes its course, changes the conversation, and so on and so forth. That's why it's proactive. All right? It's dynamic and proactive at the same time. And you are highly engaged in the process as well as communicators. Okay? So that's what makes it proactive. Another one, can I have Kiona?
Communication is a symbolic interaction po.
Alright, it's a symbolic interaction. Symbolic interaction, it could be because, number one, first and foremost, it's because we use language to communicate. And language in itself is already symbolic. Okay? Another thing about communication being symbolic is any given interaction that we have might mean something else, or it might lead to something else. So it could be representative of emotions, of feelings, of intentions. All right. So take for example, I don't know about you, but me personally, if I like someone, I would try to talk to them. So without me explicitly telling someone that I like them, I would talk to them because I want to develop a connection with them. I want this person to know na I'm interested in you. But I don't say that out loud, right? And you don't say that out loud right away. Well, hindi mo sinasabi kagad, "Hoy, usap tayo kasi gusto kita." No, you don't say that. All right? You start the conversation with, "Hi, how are you?" Ganyan. "What's your name?" Blah, blah, blah. You find common interest before you even drop the bomb. Okay? So, that's what makes it very symbolic. Alright, so there's an intention, there's a meaning, even without you telling it right away, even if it's not explicitly stated. There is intention, there is meaning. That's what makes it symbolic. Alright, so another one. Can you give me another one, Jessamy?
Systemic po.
It is a systemic process, okay? Communication is systemic in such a way that there are processes involved. And when we say systemic, there is simply a process involved actually. But there are different takes on what systemic is, which we would be talking about, discussing later on the models of communication. Sige, we'll skip on that first. Can I have another one, Alexa?
Ma'am, it is individually construed.
All right.
It is about how other people understand it, and it may be different from them. So it's really important to be careful on what we are saying.
All right, correct. So in communication, for example, what I say, I will say, "I am beautiful." Okay? If I say I am beautiful, you as my listeners, I'm the source of the message, and I said I am beautiful. You as the listeners might interpret it differently. Some might agree with me, some might not. Some might think that I'm just joking. Some might think that I'm being too serious. Okay, so you interpret it in different ways. Ma'am, why is that? You only said, "I am beautiful." Is there any other way to interpret it? Yes, because your interpretation, the meaning that you associate with certain words, certain phrases, certain sentences, certain expressions, they are all grounded on your background, your personal background, your experiences, your culture, your attitudes, your emotions, your feelings. Okay? Di ba yung salita nga, I don't know if you know this meme, meron yung okay. The word okay is actually the word that has a lot of meanings, depending on how you say it. Okay? Okay. Di ba? Pag nag-iiba yung tono mo, nag-iiba din yung meaning ng okay. So, there's this meme that I saw that if you say it in different tones, it would change its meaning. But it's just one word. All right? And people could interpret it differently as well, which we would also be discussing in the future lessons that we're going to have. All right? So thank you for that. Do we have another one? Did I miss out on a Ricardo? Do you still want to share something?
Involves communicators, ma'am.
Alright, so I think someone already said it. I think Cindy was the one who said it. It involves communicators. Okay, so it involves communicators. It's proactive. It's systemic. Meaning is individually construed, symbolic interaction. I think we're missing 2 more. Irreversible, another one. Wala na ba? 6 lang. Yes, no, maybe? I think so, ma'am.
Proactive, ma'am.
Proactive. All right. Thank you. Okay. So done. All right. So we are done with that. Okay. So those are just the characteristics of communication. But of course, different people would interpret communication differently and they would describe communication differently. I wouldn't go to the definition of communication anymore because it's as simple as relaying a message. The fact that you are sending out a message, that's already communication, okay? So I will not go into details on that one. All right, let's go to the different elements in the process of communication. Can you give me one element of communication? Let's call another one. Jamaica.
Speaker po, ma'am.
Speaker. All right. The speaker is the
Source of information po.
source of information. Can you give me another one, Mark Joseph?
Encoding.
Encoding. What's encoding? Can you describe it, please? Anyone?
It is it is what the sender do before delivering the message.
All right, correct. So it's the process going through the sender's side. Okay, it's correct, Catherine. It's a sub-process going through the sender's mind. Okay, so paano mo kaya sasabihin to? How am I going to say it? What am I going to say? Is it enough that I say it this way, that way, and so on and so forth? Okay, so all of those things that's going through your mind before you even initiate conversation, before you even talk, before you even move your body, that is encoding. You are trying to process the message itself. Alright? Another one, nabanggit ko na yung message. Message is simply the information that you want to relay, okay, that you want to deliver. Another one, can you give me another one? Juan Christian.
Listener po.
Listener. Who is the listener? Can you describe?
Listener or the recipient of the message.
Okay, the recipient of the message, the one who's gonna accept, the one who's gonna absorb, the one who's gonna process, okay? Anne Royce, can you give me another one?
Channel po.
Channel, what is the channel? Can you
It's
describe
the
it, please?
ma'am, it's the way we deliver the message.
Okay, it's the way that we deliver the message. How are you going to deliver the message? Via JT Express ba yan? JNT Express? Or via Grab? Via Mr. Speedy? And so on and so forth. Okay, pero that's just a joke. Of course, there are many different ways on how we can deliver a message. Are you going to say it out loud? Are you going to write it down? Are you going to whisper it? Are you going to shout it out loud? Are you going to type it, post it on Facebook? All right, so there are many ways. Especially right now at this time and age, there are many different ways, channels that we can use. Okay, let's go call another one. Give me another element of communication, please. Rosel.
Feedback po. This
What
could
is feedback?
it is the reaction and response of the listener after decoding the message po.
All right, correct. So it's the response, the reaction, or even the reply of your listener after receiving and after processing the message. Okay, so give me another one. Ira,
And context po.
what's the context?
And the environment or situation wherein the communication takes place, it doesn't necessarily mean it needs to be the place itself where the communication took place po. It could be the environment surrounds us po.
All right, correct. So it doesn't necessarily have to be the physical aspect. Okay, for example, it's in the kitchen. If I ask you, what's the context of this communication? Halimbawa si nanay, humihingi ka ng pera, you're asking money from your mom, and you are in the kitchen. You don't tell me, mom, it's in the kitchen. The communication takes place in the kitchen. You don't just tell me that. Of course, I know that it happens in the kitchen. Okay, but what's the environment? What is the feeling surrounding it? Is it a hostile environment? Galit ba si nanay? Nagdadabog ba si nanay? So you tell me the situation as well. Is it too early in the morning? Or is it too late at night at humihingi ka ng pambili ng kartolina sa nanay mo kaya galit ang nanay mo? Alright, so stuff like that could be considered the context, even the emotions. Okay, for example, you know the phrase, let's address the elephant in the room. Are you familiar with that one? Yes or no?
No po.
No po, ma'am.
No. So, for example, if someone says, let's address the elephant in the room. When they say, or there's an elephant in the room, meaning there is something that needs to be, like everyone is quiet, but there is something that needs to be talked about. Okay, so that's why other people will refer to it as an elephant. Okay, you cannot really see it, but it's a big deal. So it might be causing confusion, it might be causing some, how do I say this? Some hesitancy between and among the speakers or the communicators. Okay, so yon. Alright, so similarly in a context, you can consider those things as well. What type of environment is the communication taking place? Alright, so describe the feeling surrounding it, the feel of the moment, the feel of the environment. Okay, so describe it physically, emotionally, and psychologically. You can do that as well. That could be the context. All right. So give me another one. I think we still have two more. If I'm not mistaken, two. Let's call on Faith Claudette. Faith,
Decoding po, ma'am.
decoding. What is decoding?
Ano po, it is the listener or receiver trying to process of the information what they have listened to.
All right. So decoding is simply the process that is happening naman on the side of the listener or the receiver. All right. The last one, can you give me Brian, Joseph?
Barrier, ma'am.
Barrier. What is a barrier?
It's like something is stopping us or something is disrupting us to the when you're communicating, ma'am. Yun
Correct.
po.
Okay. So these are factors, these are certain elements that might affect the communication process. So it usually affects it. That's why it's called a barrier. Because remember, barriers stop us, blocks the way. Okay. So in the communication process, these barriers are elements, factors, things that might hinder, disrupt, or affect the communication process is in a negative way. Okay? So, sometimes it will stop it completely. As in, wala talagang mangyari. Because of it, communication will not take place. Alright? So, those things are what we refer to as barriers. We will be talking about, specifically about barriers, I think, lesson 4. Yeah, if I'm not mistaken, lesson 4. So, we will be talking about it in depth during that time. All right, so those are rather the elements of communication. Diba? It's quite easy. However, we need to reiterate, we need to remember these things because these are concepts that will pop up every now and then. Actually, not every now and then, all the time, as we are discussing throughout the semester. So the entire semester, all these concepts, speaker, listener, decoding, encoding, barrier, ano pa ba, feedback, message, all of those things, you will encounter it all the time here in oral communication. All right, so that's it. Now, before we proceed with lesson 2, can someone please describe to me the process of communication by pointing out the elements involved? Can someone describe the process of communication? Where does it start or where does it begin and where does it end? Hello? Ira, go ahead.
The process of communication starts by the sender or the speaker giving out his or her message to the receiver or the listener. And and the end of the process or the communication process is when the receiver gives out his or her feedback to the sender po.
Right, correct. So it starts with the communication process often starts, of course, with the source of the information, the source of the message. The message will now be relayed to the speaker via a channel, or it will be transmitted to the speaker via a channel. But before that, the message has to be encoded first. And then once received, the listener will decode the message. Okay, once decoded, if he or she understands it, then the listener will send a feedback. Feedback is very important because feedback represents that the listener understood your message. Right? 'Di ba kaya nga kayo may haha react saka love react sa Facebook. Kaya yung dinagdag ng Facebook hindi lang like because um they acknowledge the fact that people will react differently to different things. Okay? So right now, you can give different reactions. Pwede na kayong maghaha-react, may love react, may care react na nga rin. Di na nila tinanggal yun. Dati pag Mother's Day lang yun. So right now, we already have the care react. Okay? Meron din angry react na ngayon sa Facebook. May wow pa. So there are many different ways on how you can send feedback, which we will also be talking about in the future lessons. Alright? So now that's it. Okay, let's move on to lesson 2. Lesson 2 is all about the models of communication. Now, we're not gonna go into details about this one because the lesson is still available for viewing for those who have not seen it yet, for viewing on YouTube, and the link is posted on our, TBL Hub classroom. Okay, so for those who have already watched the lecture, know already what are the different models of communication. Can you please give me one model of communication and just describe it in one sentence? Perhaps just give me the key characteristic, as in yung key point lang nung model of communication na yon. Ha, you don't have to expound on it too much. Ako na mag-i-explain. Sige, let's call on Sheila. Sheila Mitzi.
Shannon-Weaver model po, known as the mother of all communication.
Okay, so Shannon-Weaver model of communication is known to be the mother of all communication models, meaning it's where most of the contemporary models of communication came from. Okay? More often than not, the most contemporary models of communication that we have right now, they were based on the Shannon-Weaver model of communication. And there was this important element that the Shannon-Weaver model of communication was the first to identify. What is that element of communication? Let me call on a person. Patricia Isabel. What was that? What element of
Model?
Shannon-Weaver model of communication? It identified a very specific element of communication. What is that?
Wait lang po, mama.
Sige. Okay lang. Anyone help? Let me call on Carl. Go ahead, Carl Adrian.
Ma'am, what model po did Patricia said?
Shannon-Weaver model of communication.
Ayun nga po, it is the mother of all communication. Ayun po yung what I recall.
Yes, but that's what she said. But what element of communication was first identified by Shannon-Weaver model? Balik tayo dun sa mga elements of communication. What are those? What model was the element of communication that was first identified, or the Shannon-Weaver model of communication gave emphasis to?
Ma'am, noise po.
Noise, correct. Okay, thank you. Was that Denise who said noise? All right, thank you for that noise. Shannon Weaver model of communication. If you would go back to the module or go back to the lesson, if you would watch it or read the module, the Shannon Weaver model of communication was originally designed for telephone conversation. Okay, so si Shannon, ang backstory nito, kukwento ko na. The backstory was Shannon and Weaver, they're two different people. However, they are colleagues. They work together. And during their time, they work in a telephone company. So in the telephone company, they kept on receiving a lot of complaints from their subscribers. They kept on saying that I cannot talk properly with the person I'm calling because there's too much static noise going on. So every time that they pick up the phone, they hear something else. What is that? What is that? What is that? So they kept hearing a lot of complaints. All right. So Shannon and Weaver studied the process. Bakit kaya? Ano kaya nangyayari? And they realized that when you pick up the phone, have you used a landline phone? Baka kasi mamaya kwento ko ng kwento, hindi nyo pala alam ang landline. Have you used a regular telephone?
Yes,
Yes po, ma'am.
Yes po.
Okay, kasi I mean, it's very rare right now that we use it. We usually use our mobile phones, correct? So even me personally at home at my house, meron kaming landline, but it's only because we have an internet. So landline is only for internet. It's because we have an internet. But every time that we want to call someone or we want to order food, for example, we would still use our cell phones. All right. So anyway, going back to the story. So Shannon and Weaver tried to understand the process involved. So they said that, ito si tumawag, siya si sender, okay? He's the source of the message. Whatever he's going to say, that's the message. And at the other end of the line, the other party is the listener. However, the telephone, the communication line, the telecommunication line, that's your transmission. That's your channel. All right? However, during that transmission, there is a problem. And that is the static noise. So there is lots of static noise. That's why when you pick up a telephone, you would hear even without you talking. Have you noticed this one? If you haven't, pick it up and try to listen to it. Huwag kang magsalita muna. Try to listen to it. You would notice like a very soft rustling. Right now, it's soft. But back then, when Shannon and Weaver first proposed this model of communication, it was not. Like, it was very painful to the ears, okay? So, to the point that, for example, if it's a loudspeaker, then too much noise will be heard by the other party. All right? So, in that way, communication was disrupted. And they identified this barrier to communication as noise. However, Shannon and Weaver realized that, wait, hold up. This does not only happen during the communication process. You don't only hear noise when you are talking on the phone. In fact, even when you talk to someone face to face, if another person shouts or if loud music is playing near you, then the communication process will also be disrupted. So the idea, the concept of noise, the barrier is not only boxed into telephone communication. That is why they proposed this particular model of communication. And they were the first ones to identify na, you know what? There are certain factors, certain elements that will affect the communication process. It's not a perfect process. There will be instances that it will be disrupted, it will be hindered, it will be blocked completely. However, during that time, syempre hindi pa barrier yung ginamit nila, noise yung ginamit nila. Alright? So, but still, it's a barrier. But they just refer to it as noise. Alright? So, that's it. That's the story of the Shannon Weaver model of communication. Okay, give me another one. Let me call another person that hasn't this recited yet, okay? Johanna Pascual.
White's model po. It implies a step-by-step sequence of events po.
Alright, correct. So White's model implies a step-by-step sequence of events. So according to White, actually White identified several processes involved in communication, and they were very specific, okay, which was different from the elements we discovered a while ago, or we talked about a while ago. So according to him, these processes need to be followed strictly, or else communication is not taking place. So according to him, from step 1, you cannot jump to step 4. You cannot jump to step 3. You have to go to step 2 first, step 1, step 2, step 3, step 4, and so on and so forth. There is no jumping to another step. There's no skipping a step. You have to go through them one at a time. But White also acknowledged that we are unaware of this, but this is happening. All right? Maybe not consciously, but on your subconscious, on your mind, it's happening. Okay, so he identified those processes which are already included in your module and in the video lecture. Okay, give me another one. Until what time are we? 10 o'clock or 10:30?
10:30.
10:30.
10:30. Alright, sige. Medyo nagpanic ako doon kasi 9:51 na. Alright, so 10:30. Give me another one. Juliana Marie. Juliana, are you with us? Okay, mukhang wala si Juliana. Hindi pa ata siya makakonect. Let's call another one, Leia Bautista.
Aristotelian model po. It is the most simple and basic model of communication, and the golden rule is for public speaking, lectures, and seminar.
Alright, correct. So it's simple. It's a very, okay lang, Juliana. It's very simple and it's very basic. However, this model of communication is considered to be the golden rule. Now, you might ask, ma'am, bakit siya golden rule? Kung golden rule siya, bakit napaka-simple niya? Bakit napaka-basic niya? Okay? So, it's considered the golden rule because in Aristotelian model, there are only 3 elements involved. The speaker, the message, and your listener or your audience. In this case, it's the audience. Audience ang tawag nila dun sa listener. So, ibig sabihin, hindi lang yan isa. Marami. Alright? So, according to Aristotle, the speaker holds the key to the communication process. He's the most important element. The most important player, kumbaga. Lahat kayo yung audience, sub-characters lang kayo, minor characters lang kayo in the story. Alright? So, according to Aristotle, the speaker plays a key role, a very important role, because he or she can heavily influence, and affect the speaker, the listeners, or the audience. Alright? So, if a speaker tells the audience to jump, the audience will jump. If the speaker tells the audience to clap, the audience will clap. And you know why? Because they believe in the speaker. They were influenced by the speaker to do so. Actually, even without telling them to do it, they will do it. If that is the intention, for example, I'm the speaker and my intention is for you to clap, for you to laugh, I will make my speech lead up to that. Okay, the way that I will deliver my message, it will lead up to that, even without me explicitly saying it. That is why it's called the golden rule. Because you would notice that good public speakers, every time that they talk in front of an audience, if they are really good, even without them telling the audience to clap, yung mga audience, papalakpak yan. May masabi lang yan ng isang salita, papalakpak yan. And you know what? In the mind of the speaker, that's their cue. Okay, so the speaker is already anticipating it na if I say this, ay papalakpak yan. Okay, because he did all of the work, alright, to influence those audience. That's why it's the golden rule for public speaking. Okay, give me another one. Let's move on to another one ang daldal ko. Joseph Bell, sorry.
The Laswell model po, ma'am.
Okay, can you
And
describe
this
the Laswell
model is
model?
This model is about the process of communication and its function to society.
Correct. Okay. So Lasso model, actually may bias ako dito because Lasso model is my favorite model of communication because it holds the importance or it gave emphasis to the importance of communication to society. Laswell believes that without communication, society will not function. The church, the family, the government, any institution included in the society, it will not function properly without communication. Okay? So, hindi siya individualistic, hindi individualistic yung view, but pluralistic siya. Social-cultural context. Alright? So, give me another one. Let's call on, sino ba bang hindi nagre-recite? Anyone else? Patricia, Isabel.
Schramm's model, it is a constant cyclical fashion po.
Okay, so Schramm's model, when you want to remember Schramm's model, S, di ba? S, Schramm. Try to remember Sarah Geronimo as well. S din. So, Schramm, Sarah. Okay, why? Ma'am, bakit si Sarah Geronimo? Anong connect ni Sarah Geronimo dyan? Okay, Sarah Geronimo, you remember the song of Sarah Geronimo, ikot-ikot lang, ikot-ikot lang. Yeah? Okay, so in Schramm's model of communication, ganun din yung model of communication niya. Ikot-ikot lang, ikot-ikot lang. Okay, ma'am, how? How is it just moving round and round and round in a constant cyclical manner? Okay, Schramm believes that the speaker is not only the speaker or does not only play the role of the speaker during the entire communication process. The speaker could also play the role of a listener. He or she could also decode during the communication process. Okay, similarly, the listener will not only play the role of a listener. He or she could also encode and play the role of a speaker. Okay, so how does it happen? The speaker will encode a message. The message will be transmitted to the listener. The listener will now decode it. However, before the listener could even provide a reply, a feedback, you need to formulate a message first. And that message, that reply, that feedback also goes through the process of encoding. So the listener also needs to encode something. Okay? So it will go back. Once encoded, he or she will transmit it back to the speaker, to the original speaker. And the original speaker will now play the role of a listener. Na-receive niya eh. He already received the reply, the feedback, the message. Now, even if he or she was the original speaker, he or she needs to decode now. Understand, ano kaya yung nire-reply niya? Ano kaya yung ibig niya sabihin dun sa reply niya? Alright? So, that's according to Schramm. Okay? So, another one. I hope that's clear. Another one, Miles. Miles Kaasi, can you give me another one?
Berlos model po.
Berlos model of communication. What is it about?
Encoding and decoding and step-by-step and the SMCR.
Alright, correct. So according to Berlo, there is importance. We need to also place importance on the process of encoding and decoding. So encoding and decoding are processes that happens in the mind of the speaker and the receiver. Okay, that is why his model is also called SMCR. SMCR stands for source, message, channel, and receiver. So, SMCR. According to Berlo, those 4 elements in communication are the most important elements to consider. Because there are also certain factors that may affect those elements. And once those certain factors affect those elements, then communication will be completely affected as well. Take for example, in the source, you as a person, before you even communicate, the way that you communicate is also affected by your moods, your knowledge, your background, etc. So take for example, if if I ask you something, a teacher, and you're a student, okay, if you're not in the mood to study, di ba kapag wala kayo talaga sa mood na mag-aral, hindi nyo talaga na-absorb kung ano yung sinasabi ng teacher. So even if I have the knowledge, even if I am equipped to give you something, but you as a receiver, your background says differently or your background disagrees with me, wala ka sa mood eh. Wala akong magagawa doon. So I have to accept the fact that there are certain factors that affect you as a listener. Alright? Are we clear on that?
Yes po.
Yes, okay. So that's Berlo's model. Give me another one. Wait lang ha. Let's call on those who can unmute themselves first. Sige po. If you want to say something, you can just raise your hand po. Ronaldin Aranyo, please do. Unmute yourself now.
The dance model po, ma'am. This model of communication is represented by a spiraling figure or a helix po.
Alright, correct. It's represented by a spiraling figure or a helix. Ma'am, bakit ganun? Mukhang DNA. You might think na, ma'am, bakit helix? Ano bang meron dyan sa helix shape na yan? Alright, helix because according to Frank Dance, the proponent of the dance model of communication, hindi dahil sumasayaw siya. Nung una, kala ko din sumasayaw kasi sumasayaw yung ano. But no. Okay, Frank Dance was the first one to propose it. That's why it's named after him. So according to him, communication does go in a cyclical manner. So, nag-agree siya kay Shram na paikot-ikot lang yan. Ikot-ikot lang. However, according to Frank Dance, it doesn't just stay in one place. It doesn't just rotate, move in one place. It goes forward and it also goes backward. Parang spring. Alright? It's a spring. It looks like a spring. So, according to Frank Dance, ganun daw po ang nangyayari during communication process. So, whenever we say something, it will affect the future. And it was also affected by our past. Nagets nyo? Did you get it? That's why it moves forward and it moves backward. For example, the way that I interact now, the way that I'm teaching right now, it was affected by my previous experiences. It was because my previous teachers were not like this. That's why I'm acting like this. Or it was because the teachers that I had before were like this. That's why I wanted to emulate what they were doing. Okay? And in the future, maybe my future students would want to become like me or would not want to become like me. Okay? So yung ganun po. Okay? So according to Frank Dance, whatever we say now will influence the future. How we communicate now will influence the future. And it was because of our past as well. Alright? So that's the idea of dance model. Okay? So let's move on. Another one, I think we have two more. Let's call on Raylene. Maria Raylene Ashley. Tama ba po?
Raylene po.
Raylene. Sorry, Raylene. Okay, Maria
Okay,
Raylene Ashley.
White's
Okay, go ahead.
model po. White's model. This model of communication implies a step-by-step sequence, which is thinking, symbolizing, expression, transmitting, receiving, decoding, feedbacking, and monitoring po.
Alright, thank you, Raylene. I think we already mentioned White's model. Basta step-by-step White's model yan. Give me another one, Denise Taladro. Denise?
Symbolic interaction model po, ma'am.
What about symbolic interaction model?
It is a systemic process in which communicators construct personal meanings through their symbolic interactions.
Alright, correct. So we construct personal meanings. If you want to understand symbolic interaction, you just go back to the different characteristics or nature of communication. Alright? So you just go back to that. Kapag gusto nyo maalala siya, it's a symbolic process, it involves communicators, it's proactive, it's systemic, and so on and so forth. Alright? Can you give me the last one? I think we have one more model of communication left to discuss. Jessamy, go ahead.
Yung Laswell model po, tapos na po yun.
Yes po, we're done na. Are you familiar with the speech communication transaction model? Can someone explain what speech communication? Ricardo, go ahead.
The transactional model of communication proposed by Barndon state that giving and receiving messages is reciprocal. Yun.
So it's reciprocal. That means that it is a kind of model that is
Broke down by communication into two types: interpersonal, encoding and decoding messages within oneself, and intrapersonal, encoding and decoding messages with another.
Okay, sige. Mukhang iba yung reference ni Ricardo. Alright, let's move. How about another one? Can you describe the speech communication transaction model? Cindy?
Ano po ma'am, it's a two-way process, includes feedback as an element of communication, and communication is not happening if you are not receiving any feedback. It is also called interactive model po.
Alright, correct. So it is called interactive model because there is feedback involved. Meaning, it's not only one way. Kung mapapansin nyo, if you go back to the lesson that I had for lesson 2, you would notice that most of the models, the arrows are only pointing to one direction. Isa lang yung direction nila. Kung papunta sa left, papunta lang siya sa, papunta sa right, papunta lang siya sa right. Right? Correct? Alright? But however, in the speech communication transaction model, it doesn't only go one way, it goes two way. So it acknowledges that interaction is happening. There is an exchange. There is an idea. Okay? Transaction, di ba kapag transaction, if you are transacting with someone, you give something in return. Okay? So you get something in return from what you have just given. Ganun siya. Kaya siya speech communication transaction model. So you get something as a speaker, you also get something from the listener. As a listener, you get something from the speaker, and so on and so forth. And like what a while ago was mentioned, feedback was the most important element identified in the speech communication transaction model. And you would notice as well that the barriers do not only happen, the noise does not only happen during the transmission process. It is evident all throughout the communication process. So you would notice that the speech communication transaction model is already a culmination, or not a culmination rather, but a summary. Okay, a summary of all the other communication models. Pinagsama-sama sila dun sa speech communication transaction model. Alright? So I hope that's clear. Now, let's move on. We don't have a lot of time. Can we move on to the question and answer? Do you have any questions, clarifications that you want to make right now regarding lesson 1 and lesson 2? Anyone? Meron ba? Tahimik kayo. Silence means yes or silence means no. See, we can interpret it in different ways.
Wala naman po.
Okay, so according to Alexa, there is none as of the moment. All right, so can we proceed with our activity if there is no question? I hope it's clear. For those who have not watched the video yet, please do take the time to watch the video lecture, because sometimes it's I don't mind you, to be honest, I really don't mind you researching our lessons on the internet. However, for example, if we might give an activity or if we might give a quiz, for example, di ba? Baka mamaya iba yung sagot nyo. So the answer I'm not expecting is not there. Alright? So it's best if we refer first to the materials, resources that we have on TBL Hub before we research on other references. Alright? So, but I highly encourage you to read up. Okay? Read up and look for other sources of information. Okay. So, no questions for now. Let's move on to our class activity. We don't have a lot of time. We only have 20 minutes to do it. So, instead of a group, wait, let me just, nasan na siya? Let me just check. Okay, here. Okay, so I hope you can see it. Can you see it properly?
Yes po.
Okay, so what we're gonna do is we're going to be playing the game Taboo. Are you familiar with Taboo?
No po,
No
ma'am.
po, ma'am.
Hindi
No?
po.
No
Hindi
one has
po,
played
ma'am.
this one before.
No
Alright,
po,
so
ma'am.
let me explain the game first. Taboo is a word guessing game. It's actually a card game. So when you buy it, it's marketed as a board game, but it's actually a card game. So when you buy it, it comes in a box with a card, with cards and timers and whatnot. All right. So it's a word guessing game wherein usually it's played in pairs. So pair kayo na naglalaro. One player, one of you will draw a card, look at the card, and there's a word that is to be guessed. Merong huhulaan na salita po. Okay. However, it is called taboo because you cannot say. You can describe the word. You can use your words, okay? However, there are certain words, specific words, that you cannot use. Okay, so that's what makes it difficult. That's what makes it challenging. So take for example, nasaan na siya? Here. Is that mine? Okay, so take for example this one. Okay, so take for example this one. Banana. The word is banana. Okay? So you can describe banana. For your partner to be able to guess it, you can describe banana. However, you cannot use the words monkey, fruit, and yellow. So you are not allowed to use monkey, fruit, and yellow. How are you going to describe banana without using monkey, fruit, and yellow? Give me an example.
Moon shape.
It is moon shape. So this is moon shape. What else? Hala, nako. Well, hirapan tayo sa tabo niyan. Sorry, Anne. Anne, go ahead. It has potassium. So this is a food that is moon shape and has lots of potassium. So there, something like that. But throughout your descriptions, you cannot say monkey, fruit, yellow, and the word, of course, banana. Are we clear?
Yes po.
Yes po,
Okay.
ma'am.
So the guessers are not allowed to ask questions. This is supposedly a game for the group, okay? Dapat group siya. By group sana tayo if we had plenty of time. However, since we reviewed certain lessons, we cannot do the group activity anymore. So I would need a volunteer to be the giver of clues. All right? The giver of clues will automatically receive the price of 20 pesos GCash or load. Okay? So automatic yon. Pag nag-volunteer ka na ikaw yung magbibigay ng clues, then 20 pesos sa'yo kagad. There are 6 cards to be played. So meaning we will have 6 winners. Each card, so the giver of clues will be describing each card. And for you to be able, if you already know, after the description, if you already know the answer, just raise your hand, wait for me to acknowledge you, and if you are the first one to raise your hand, then, and you got the correct answer, then you will win the prize. Are we clear?
Yes,
There are
ma'am.
6.
Yes po, ma'am.
There are 6 who will win 20 pesos GCash or load. It's up to you, whatever you want. And one volunteer. So, who would want to volunteer? Kailangan yung pwedeng i-open yung Facebook niya kasi I will send the cards to the Facebook. Wait lang. Sino yung nagtaas ng kamay? Alexa will volunteer to be the giver of clues. Yes? Yes, no, Alexa?
Yes po.
Okay, sige. Alexa, are you active on Facebook right now?
Yes, ma'am.
I'll send you a messenger. Sorry. I really hate Messenger on web browser. I swear. Like, it's very, very slow. I don't know why. Wait, let me just check this one. Baka mas mabilis siya sa Alexa Pineda, correct?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. So, let me Are you ready? Is the class ready? I will be sending Alexa the...
Yes po.
Yes po.
Wala na, wala siya. Wait. Nasa na siya? Oh no, I lost it. Wait. Ito. Okay. So, let's choose first. I will be sending Alexa the cards after you have chosen the color. Diba, nag-groupings pa ako. Wala din naman nangyari. Alright, choose the color. What color would you want?
Pink.
Pink? Class agrees? Yes, no?
Yes po.
Yes po,
Yes,
yes.
pink. Okay,
Yes po,
so
ma'am.
pink tayo ha. Pink. Alright. So wala na tayong time limit because we are already running on limited time. Alexa, I'll be sending it now.
Okay, ma'am.
If you could just please check. Did you see it?
Yes, ma'am.
Alright, so try to say the clues in full sentences ha. So take for example, this object is blah 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 blah. This is blah blah blah, so that they could
Okay,
understand it better. Alright, so
Okay, ma'am.
Alexa, we will start from this one, this card. From the top,
Yes, ma'am.
1,
Okay,
2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. Alright?
Okay, ma'am.
Don't send it to your classmates ha.
No, yes, ma'am.
Okay, sige. Ready? Alright, if
Yes, ma'am.
everyone is ready, let me just open my... Okay, so I can see who is going to raise their hands. Baba muna natin yung hand ni Alexa. Alright, sige. Ready na? Okay, Alexa,
Yes, ma'am.
give the clue to number 1. Word number 1.
Word number 1, this object includes string.
It has strings,
It
okay.
has a string. And then, oops. May nabigas na ito.
Samantha, go ahead. Guess?
Guitar po.
Is it a guitar?
No.
Is it a guitar, Alexa?
Ay, yes, ma'am.
It's a guitar. Okay, it's a guitar. Okay,
it's a
so
guitar.
Samantha got this round. Okay, move on to
Sorry.
word number 2.
Word number 2, it is a big animal.
It is a big animal. Wow, may taas kagad na kamay. Parang sinendi Alexa sa grupo ah.
Ma'am, I promise, no.
Cindy, go ahead. Sige, guess. It is a big animal.
Elephant, ma'am.
Is it an
No.
elephant?
No.
Okay. Next clue.
This, ay, may nag-guess, ma'am. Nag-raise hand.
Sige. Okay lang. Lower ko muna yung hand. Next clue tayo. Next clue.
Next clue, it is a pink animal.
It is a pink animal.
Ma'am.
It is big.
Oh my gosh!
Oh,
Oh my
bahala
gosh.
ka dyan. Sige, i-correct mo muna. Okay, go.
It has a cute ears.
It has a cute ear. It is cute ear. Kasi nagtabu ka. Okay, may tabu word kasi siya na sinabi. Okay, it is a big animal and has cute ears. Who is the first person? Denise.
Pig, ma'am.
Is it pig?
Yes, it is a pig.
Oh, it is pig. Okay, next question. Next word.
We
what?
Our body needs it every day.
Our body needs it every day. Oh my God, what is that? Sige, Cindy, try again.
Water.
Is it water?
Yes. It is a water.
Is it water?
Ay, no. No, sorry.
No, it's not water.
Second clue,
difficult.
I'm not sure if tama yung
Where can you
amount
find it? Where can you find it?
You can find it in your kitchen.
You can find it in the kitchen. You need it every day, and you can find it in the kitchen. Mark Joseph.
Food.
Is it food?
No, it's not a food.
It's not a food. Okay, so lower muna natin. Wait lang, lower muna natin. Sige, go ahead.
Go
ahead.
We put it in a table.
We
Every
put it
time we
on
eat.
a table every time that we eat. Jessamy, go ahead.
Rice po ba?
Is it
No.
rice? It's not rice. You can find it in the kitchen. Your body needs it, and we put it on the table every time we eat. Angela. Angela. Guess?
Wala po akong idea ang napindot ko. Sorry.
Oh, wala pa daw ang idea. Oh, Sheila.
Vitamins.
Vitamins.
No.
Okay, sige. Another clue. I'll lower this one first. Another clue. Other things that you can put in it. What else can you put in it?
You can put a juice.
You can put juice. Denise.
Glass.
Is it
No,
glass?
other term.
Okay, another term for glass. Cindy.
Cup.
Cindy. Is it cup?
Yes, it is a cup.
Okay, it is a cup. O, sino nagsalita? Si Cindy o si Denise? Si Denise. Okay, sige.
Denise.
So, Denise got it. All right, next word. Fourth word.
Fourth word, COVID.
COVID. Oh, COVID. Carl.
Virus.
Is it virus? No, it's not. Describe it.
Where did we
Where
are the COVID patients?
Where the COVID patients are? Denise, let's give a chance to others. Let's give chance to others. Ann Royce, kasi nanalo ka na eh. Ann Royce. Is it a hospital?
Yes, it is a hospital.
Yes, it is a hospital. All right, fifth word. Go ahead.
Word,
wala pa, Ricardo.
It is a part of our body.
It is a part of our body. Okay. What else? What else can you say about it?
Long part of our body.
It is a long part of our body. Bea.
Esophagus.
Sorry again, louder.
Esophagus.
Ha? Louder.
Esophagus.
Alam, hindi ko narinig. Esophagus. So, ang narinig ko, is it the police? Is it esophagus? Is it esophagus?
No.
No, it's long and it's a part of our body.
External part of our body.
Oh, it's an external part of our body. Sheila.
Legs po.
Is it legs?
Yes, it is a leg.
Yes, it is a leg. Okay, sige, next one.
We use it on online class.
We use it for online class. Okay. What else can you say about it? Aside from it being used in an online class.
We use it to do PowerPoint.
We use it to do PowerPoint. Sige, Ricardo, go ahead.
Laptop, ma'am.
Is it laptop?
No.
Wait lang. Wait. Let me lower the hands first. Wait lang. Wala mo na nagtataas. Okay, sige. Give another clue. Alexa. Aside from doing PowerPoint, what else can you do with it?
You can work using this thing, especially pandemic.
Okay, so you can work, especially during the pandemic, using this.
It's really
thing.
essential right now.
Oh, it is really essential right now. Bea, go ahead.
Desktop.
Is it desktop? Okay, Kiona.
Internet, ma'am.
Internet. Is it the internet?
No, almost.
Almost there. Leia Bautista.
Computer.
Is it
Yes,
computer? Yes, it is the computer. All right. So there, congratulations. I mean, this could have been fun, more fun if we had plenty of time. But right now we don't have time. So let me just stop sharing this for now. Okay. So why did we play this game? Okay, thank you, Leia. Thank you, Alexa. Thank you for the winners for
Welcome, ma'am.
participating. Thank you for all of you who participated. Okay. So why did we play this game, and how is it related to our class or our topic for today? Okay. It's essential because this one represents the process of communication. It's actually a good way to showcase the process of communication and the elements involved. Okay. Take for example, who was the speaker in this communication?
Alexa mo.
Alexa. She was the source of the information. And what was the information? What kind of information was she giving to the listeners? What information was she giving? The clues. Correct. Okay, she was giving clues. Who were the listeners?
Us.
You. Okay, so your class, Alexa's classmates, or the entire O3 ABM. All right. So, the process of communication was not smooth. Am I right?
Yes.
Yes. So there were certain barriers. Can you identify some barriers? What were the barriers you encountered? Wala. Nahulaan niyo ba kagad kung anong sinabi niya? Were you able to identify it right away? What were the barriers?
Yung pag-guess po sa guessing.
Why was it difficult for you to guess it?
Kasi po mas malayo po yung ibang clue.
Okay. Because there are certain words that she cannot use. And those words were very common. Okay? Those were the words commonly used to describe those things. However, she cannot use it. So she has to find ways on how she could describe the object without using certain words. Okay? That process is encoding. Nagde-decide muna si Alexa, ano kayang gagamitin ko dito? Paano ko to i-describe? Tapos kayo naman, nung na-receive nyo na yung clues niya, hala, ano kaya yun? Big, pink, tapos may cute ears. Anong animal yun? Diba? You're processing it, so that's decoding on your end, okay? But there are certain barriers. For example, lag si computer, late nyo naririnig yung, mas mabilis sumagot yung kaklase nyo, and so on and so forth. Alright? So this game reflects the process of communication. That's why we play this game in class. It would have been better if we had plenty of time. I swear, like it's a very, very good game to have in class. All right. So now that we are done, do you have any questions, clarifications for the day?
None po, ma'am.
Wala na po.
All right. Sige, if you don't have any, thank you so much for joining me. For those who have not yet log in on our attendance, please type your name on the chat box right now, full name, para po ma-record yung attendance ninyo. Alright, so if you don't have any questions and you're already done typing your name on the chat box, thank you so much, G12-03 ABM. Your prizes nyo, I will post something later on our Facebook group, ha? Okay, so please wait for me. Alright, so but I will definitely send your prizes today. All right. So if you don't have any questions, thank you for joining me today. Thank you so much, Grade 1203 ABM. May you have a wonderful week ahead of you. Salamat po.
Thank you po, ma'am. Bye-bye po. Thank you po.
Thank you po.